Okay. All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. We are back. We, as always, are going to be continuing on with our look at the Torah portion for the week. We, as always, we want to try to remember that, we are not just, here looking at these things that, from, looking at these things that happen from a historical standpoint. We know that, there are actual events that happen, but we know, I say this all the time, we know based on what Yeshua has said that when we read these things over here in the Torah, that Yeshua actually is able to be seen in and through these events. And so today, there is a pretty, as far as I'm concerned, pretty big showing of Yeshua in the Torah. Something that we'll be looking at, as we go through. But let's see here. Today we will be dealing with Exodus 32, verse 15 through chapter 34, verse 8. Exodus chapter 32, 15 through chapter 34, verse 8. Last week, we looked at the beginning of the golden calf situation, and how it began. And so this week, what we're going to be looking at is kind of the repercussions of what happened with that golden calf situation. And so, when we look over here, we'll see what happens whenever he came down. He came down. Okay, that's if we was gonna call this something, that's what we would call it. He came down, right? Whether we talking about Moses coming down, or whether we talking about the spirit coming down, or even as we saying in terms of this, what I just had mentioned, Yeshua coming down. So we'll go ahead. Let me pull up the verses over here. Get right into it. Let's see how far we're gonna read down. Start with. Actually, I want to go back in order to just get a context. Let's see here. If we go to, let me pull the verses up here. If we go to 32, let's go back to 11, and then we'll go down to 27. We'll just start 11. I'll just stop whenever we. I want to get some of this in so we could talk about it. We look at Exodus 32, verse 11 on on down.
But Moshe pleaded with Yahweh, his Elohim, and said, Yahweh, why does your wrath burn against your people, whom you have brought out of the land of Mizraim with great power and with a strong hand? Why should the Mazarite speak and say, for evil he brought them out to kill them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your heat of your wrath and relent from this evil to your people. Remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself and said to them, I increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and all of the land that I have spoken of I give to your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And Yahweh relented from the evil which he has said he would do to his people. And Moshe turned and went down from the mountain. In his hand were the two tablets of the witness, tablets written on both their sides, written on the one and on the other. And the tablets were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim engraved on the tablets.
Okay, very good. Let's stop right there. So when we see over here, we see again, we want to be looking at this and kind of seeing where we're able to see either something that we could say, oh, that is, that's Yeshua, or something that we could say kind of typifies who Yeshua is for us. So most definitely when we look over here and see with Moses, who is literally being an advocate for Israel, we definitely see a picture of what it is that Messiah does for us in terms of being our advocate, right? It says that he pleaded with Yahweh. At this time we see that the Most High is ready actually to strike down the people, right? Because of this great thing that they have done. And so I think when we look at this, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. But when we see over here, for instance, if we go down to verse 15, where it says that Moshe went down, we see that he has in his hand these two tablets, where verse 16 says were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim engraved on these tablets. And so if all that we knew, if the only thing we knew was this verse 16, like not knowing like what he wrote on the tablets, right? That notwithstanding, just to say this verse 16, we just was to have this verse in a vacuum, just as where we just know that this thing that Moses had in his hand was the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim engraved on these tablets. You would think that this thing, that we could probably just go ahead and say that this is some important things over here, right? Just to say like the Most High literally wrote on this. Mm-hmm. Like we're not even talking about what he wrote on it. Mm-hmm. The subject matter is kind of secondary to the fact that you have this thing that the Most High wrote on. Mm-hmm. Like whatever it is that he wrote on it, we could just say this is probably one of the most important things in life, in creation.
Yeah.
Because he wrote it.
Yeah.
This is like if he had like whatever he had to say, and wanted to be put in a time capsule for humanity, whoever
Exactly.
the recipients of the letter that he's writing. He's putting this thing, the Most High is writing this and saying, here, give this to the people. So I'm saying, like, whatever that is, like, we know what it is. I'm saying, whatever it is, like, we should be thinking about this thing in a way like this is pretty important stuff. It's not something that kind of just stops being important. If we think about the fact that we're talking about this is the Most High, it says that this is the work of Elohim, and the writing is the writing of Elohim, engraved on tablets. The other verse said, then the other verse said he wrote it with his own finger, right?
Yes.
With his own finger. And so I'm just saying, like, this is some pretty important things over here. The subject matter, right? Well, we know the subject matter was the laws, right? He wrote the laws on the tablets. And so, my thing is that when you look at this over here, how can we think about a time when the Most High is going to, like, he never, as far as the documents as far as the scriptures that we have, he never goes back and does something else, apart from this, right? In terms of writing this thing down on a tablet. Like, he put this law in stone, right? And then so for people to begin to talk about this idea of the Most High kind of moving away from his standard of righteousness and beginning this other thing, it's kind of for me, I don't understand why. It's kind of unfathomable why somebody is able to come to those type of conclusions, because we have in the record. Oh, I know why, because they don't really turn back into these pages much, because those things have been.
Yeah.
But if they were to do such a thing, they would find that the Most High gave his handiwork to Moses to come down and deliver. They already heard it. They heard it already. So this even takes it to another level, because he literally spoke this to the people. And then not only did they have this awesome situation that they had to remember for all times, but then he said, just in case you may forget what I just talked to you about audibly on top of the mountain with the thunders and lightnings and the fires and everything else on top of the mountain, in case you forgot all of that, I'm going to write it down for you on these two tablets with my own finger and give it to you so that you could look at this thing and remember what I said that awesome day on top of the mountain. This is pretty important stuff over here. And when we understand what this is, it helps us to understand the overall plan of what it is that the Most High has for his people. Right, we can understand that this kind of thing that has been perpetuated throughout, at this point, the ages. This thing has been falsely interpreted for ages at this point. But when we look at this the way that it should be looked at, we're able to see that, if we could sit up here and say, well, he's the same today, yesterday, and forever, right? He don't change, but those things he's not concerned with anymore. It's mind boggling, right? But we were able to see over here just from these verses, especially me when I'm looking at verse 16. Verse 16 to me is just an awesome verse, just to know that we have this work of the Most High written by his own hand, right, on these tables of stone.
You know what? I want to say that what gets me is when I was in dialogue with a gentleman, a Christian brother, who kept implying Mosaic law, to the point as if Moshe went up there himself and ripped out some stones and wrote them himself. I said, brother, you keep saying as if Moses wrote these things himself.
Yeah.
You're not getting the picture. With his own finger, God wrote them for him. So they are his to give to us. He just didn't come up with them on his own like y'all think.
Yeah. It's interesting how, because it's true that it was referred to as the law of Moses. But the misconception is as you say, it's as if they treat it as if this is something that Moses wrote, right? That he's the author, the mastermind behind it. He did write it, right? But he wrote the words that was given to him from the Most High, and so it's some funny business that these people do when they sit up here and look. Well, they calling it the law of Moses, right? This is some funny business. It's funny business that they do whenever they look at this, because it's true that it was referenced as that.
Right.
But for you to take it a step further and make it be like he came up with it out of his own mind, that's taking it too far. And but that leaves way for them to go ahead and say, that's that it could be done away with if you think about it as something that man created. Well, he was just some man. Yeah. It's easy for you to go ahead and say we don't got to worry about that anymore. It makes it more difficult when we think about it like over here, where he's saying that I wrote this, right? These are my words. But again, like I say, when we look at this from the proper perspective that you're supposed to look at it, understand that the law really is the character of the Most High humanized. How do you do away with his character? Right? Yeah. Why? What's the purpose of us trying to kind of forget about the Most High, the way that he is, and the way that he calls for us to be in terms of emulating himself?
I kind of give him a benefit of doubt and pass on one point, because as a Christian myself, listening to Pastor such and such, Pastor Porkchop, Pepto Bismol, telling me, the laws of Moses was done away with, coming into Christianity, mind you, as it was delivered to me, I'm thinking in my mind, just like you said, the laws of Moses. I ain't know Moses wrote the law. The 10 Commandments. So every time I saw the 10 Commandments, I look at them as if Moses wrote them, as under the Christian spectacle.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at it. So I kind of understand them thinking that way, because they was deceived. But when they woke up and don't understand it, that's what mind-boggling to me. You see this right there, man. Come on, man.
Okay, let's keep on going. We want to go over all of this, but we want to kind of get a couple more things into the mix over here. So, well, first of all, before we keep going, we want to look back and see again point out the fact that the Most High was, definitely upset with the people. In terms of the way that the conversation is going, we see that Moses is, really pleading for the people, saying, don't sit up here and do this to these people. He's asking for the Most High to remember, as if the Most High has forgotten about all of these things, and he literally stands in the gap for the people in the midst of their wickedness.
Right.
And so for me, when I look at this, I think about the fact that, well, let's think about this for a little bit. When we think about, just think about how we may be as human beings. I, as a human being, am, of course, imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I'm outside of a situation, it's easy for me to be able to say, the best case scenario of what should be done or what I should even do, right? But things happen. People get into their emotions, right? And then people sometimes need to be talked off of the proverbial cliff, when we get into our emotions. But that's what we see Moses doing over here, right? But he's talking to the Most High. So I'm saying, when I look at this, for me, this whole conversation is about Moses stepping up into a particular role, not about Moses bringing the Most High off of an emotional trip. This is a learning thing that the Most High is going through with Moshe, or else, otherwise, what are we to say then? Right? Moses had to calm him down. Like, hold on, just calm down. You getting out of control. The Most High was about to get out of control right there. That's not what was happening. The Most High can't get out of control, right? We have to learn how to acquire his character, not the other way around. And so when we see this over here, I see this really as a moment for Moses, kind of a maturing Moses. This situation shows Moses his own self. It shows him his own self, the one who would, get beside himself in rage, in some righteous indignation, right? And so when we look at this, when I look at this, it seems to be something that's going on, that's helping Moses step into the role that he is supposed to be in, more so than the Most High being helped by Moses, and also again showing us a picture again of what we see with Yeshua, because there's a thing that we deserve, right? There's a thing that we all deserve, but because of what Yeshua came and did for us, we don't get what we deserve, right? We actually deserve the wrath of the Most High, right? We deserve this, right? He's about to give it to us, right? He's right here with it,
right?
And then Yeshua comes along and say, hold on. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
The arm is still getting swung,
Mhm.
right?
I hear you.
It's still coming, but who gonna feel it,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And so when we think about the idea of sacrifice, in general, right? That sacrifice, somebody's still gonna die. It's just not necessarily you,
Mhm.
but somebody's dying in your place, right? And so we see this thing that happens where the Most High requires for something to happen, something to be done, kind of to give this stay of execution, right? That something has to happen for this clemency
Mhm.
to be enacted, and over here at this point anyway, it's as little as, just kind of a conversation, right? There's more, all right. But it shows something in Moses to see the compassion that he has for the people, because in kind of a state of carnality, he could have said, well, yeah, I'll be the father of the future Israel. That sounds awesome. These people don't deserve it anyway. Look at them. They down here acting crazy. Yeah, you're still right by he could have just been like, okay, because it's not like the Most High's wrong if he says, I'm gonna kill him and start again with you. because Moses is from Abraham, so a nation, it might push the timeline back some, but
Right.
it could still be done.
Mhm.
And so in his flesh, he could have said and been right to say, okay, yeah, right. But because of this thing now that he has within him, him having this compassion for the people, he says, let me just see about what's going on. Let me just go down here and deal with it. Don't kill the people, right? And the Most High says, fine, right? And so from there, we want to keep reading. We want to keep reading because some other things happen that kind of that kind of turn. It goes for a turn over here. So let's pick back up over here at what do we read down to at 17.
And Yehoshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, and he said to Moshe, a noise of battle in the camp. And he said, it is not the sound of those who shout of might, nor is it the sound of those who cry out in weakness, but the sound of singing that I hear. And it came to be, as soon as he came near the camp, and he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moshe's displeasure burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands and broke them
Oh my
at
goodness.
the foot of the mountain.
Oh my goodness.
And he took the calf which they had made and burned it in the fire, and ground it into powder and scattered it on the face of the water and made the children of Israel drink it. And Moshe said to Aaron, what did this people do to you that you have brought so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, do not let the displeasure of my master burn. You know the people that is in in evil. It says, and they said to me, make us mighty ones who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us out of the land of Mitzrayim, we do not know what has become of him. And I said to them, whoever has gold, let them take it off. And they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and this calf came out. And Moshe saw that the people were let loose, and Aaron let them loose, and their shame among their enemies. And Moshe stood at the entrance of the camp and said, who is this for? Yahweh, come to me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves to him. And he said to them, thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, each one put his sword at his side, on his side, pass over to and fro from the gate, from gate to gate to the camp. And each one killed his brother, and each one his friend, and each one his relative. And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moshe. And about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. And Moshe said, you are ordained of Yahweh today, since each one has been against his son and his brother, so as to bring upon you a blessing today. And it came to be the next day that Moshe said to the people, you have sinned a great sin, and now I am going up to Yahweh that if I might atone for your sin. And Moshe returned to Yahweh and said,
okay, hold on, my fault. Let's stop right there at 30 and talk about some of this stuff, because there's a whole bunch of things in here that I want to deal with. So if we go back and see and look at this now, so we see now something different happens, right? Because when we look over at Moses, at first, well, let's just say, Moses had all the answers when he was separate from what was actually going on, right? He was ready to plead and be merciful when we was dealing with kind of the theoretical, right?
right.
Hold on, it can't be that bad. Just Father, please. Come on.
Yeah.
Right? In theory, Moses, he had all the right things to say, right? But when his eyes actually saw what was going on, something happened, right? When he saw, when reality kicked in, it was too much. It was too much to bear.
He's mad because he's like, I'm down there vouching for you. I'm making me look bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Most High was able to see the whole time, right? He couldn't see, right? Moses couldn't see. They getting closer, and even Yehoshua was like, oh, what's going on over there? Like, it sounds like these people is like going to war or something. Like, it sounds like what they doing, like. And so when we look over and we think about a few things, the scripture tells us if we look over in Romans, pull up Romans real quick. Romans chapter 7, 18.
That's where I know that in me, that is my flesh, dwells no good. For to wish is present with me, but to work to do good, I do not find.
Okay, so that's dealing with our flesh, right? We could know what the right thing to do or say might be, right? But it really takes the operation of the Spirit working inside of us for that to be actually realized properly at some points, right? Because we could be the most, calmest, reasonable, whatever individual outside of a particular situation. But then the test is when you get into the situation, then now what? Right? And so when we see things like we see things like in Romans chapter 5. Let's see, 5, I think it's 1 through 5. What's that say there?
Therefore, having been declared right by belief, we have peace with Elohim through our Master, Yeshua HaMashiach, through whom also we have access by belief into favor in which we stand, and we exalt in the expectation of the esteem of Elohim. And not only this, but we also exalt in pressures, knowing that pressure works endurance, and endurance, provedness, and provedness, expectation. And expectation does not disappoint, because the love of Elohim has been poured out in our hearts by the set apart Spirit, which was given to us.
Okay, very good. So when we see over here, we look at this is somewhat of a process, which experience is a part of, right? Going through a situation, right? And putting the theory into practice, right? And then when you go ahead and do that, that helps for you to be able to behave in such a way that you should be behaving, right? Going through the pressure, knowing, going through that pressure, that works endurance, right? And going through endurance, right, that brings about approvedness and expectation, or King James probably says hope, right? And so Moses knew what to do. He knew what the theory of it was, but he came down and then he just did basically what the Most High was saying to do before he went down, right? And then Yeshua also says to his disciples that the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And so when we look over here, that's kind of what we see going on with Moses. So when we look at Moses is an interesting character, because in some respects we see where he exemplifies Yeshua and gives us that picture of Yeshua, but we also see where he exemplifies man, right? He shows us pictures of our strengths and weaknesses, and then he also shows us Yeshua. So we want to look at this some more. If we go back over 34, I want to look at 25.
So do not slay the blood of my slaughtering with leaven, and do not
hold on 1 second. Was it verse 35? Hold on. Exodus 34. Wait a second. That's not the right verse. Oh, my fault. It's not 34. It's 32. We're in 32. 25.
And Moses saw that the people were let loose, and Aaron had let them loose, and their shame to their shame among their enemies.
Okay, yeah. That's the verse right there. Let's look at this. Let's look at this in the something interesting here. Moses saw that the people were naked, it says. That's interesting. For Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. This is interesting because when we think about again, we talked about the fact a little bit last week when we talked about the things that potentially may have been going on, but this can be viewed a number of ways. We could think about it in the fact of what they were doing literally caused them to be naked in their actions. We could think about the fact that them, we know about this scripture in Ephesians that talks about the whole armor of the Most High. And so when we think about what the armor of the Most High represents, it represents you being able to walk around and be protected from spiritual attacks. In the state that these people was in, they may have been in physical nakedness, but they was also in a state of spiritual nakedness, right? Because they were totally devoid of righteousness and connection with the Most High at that time, where they were open to the attacks of their enemies in this state, right? This word over here, naked, is a word that says para, which means to loosen, to expose, to make naked, uncover. And so when we think about this word over here, it caused me to think about this other thing that happens over here. Let's go over to Numbers chapter 5, verse 18. Read that for us.
And the priest shall make the woman stand before Yahweh and shall uncover the woman's head and put an offering for remembering in her hands, which is the grain offering of jealousy, while the priest holds in his hands a bitter water that brings a curse.
Okay, something interesting happens over here. We have our word over here, which actually is this uncover. Something interesting happens, right? The priest, the man, this is the law of jealousy. The man thinks his wife is doing some funny business. So the man takes the woman to the priest for, to see what's what. She drinks this bitter waters, and if she's guilty, her womb rots, her thigh rots, and her womb shrivels, right? And so, but this part over here, this verse 15, where it says, the priest shall make the woman stand before Yahweh and shall uncover the woman's head. So she's literally having her head uncovered because it was already covered, because that's what they did, right? The woman had their heads covered physically. But also when we see over here, the same thing as when we look at what's going on with Israel, where they're in a physical state that kind of exemplifies their spiritual state. The woman has her head uncovered, but she also is coming out from under the protection of her husband at this time to receive whatever judgment it is that this other individual has for her. The man, as the husband of his wife, is the protective covering of his woman, right? And so no other man gonna come around and judge nothing unless he makes her available to be judged, right? So we see this over here is happening from a physical perspective. She's literally taking the cover off of her head. She's literally making her hair be loose, right? And she's also being exposed to the priest who's acting as a judge, from that spiritual perspective. Now, the same thing is happening with Israel over there, where they are naked. They're exposed, they're uncovered, they're unprotected, and they're ready for judgment, whichever that may be, whether it be the enemy coming along just right at this opportune moment when they're in the midst of this filthiness where they could just be easily taken, or the Most High coming down saying, y'all done messed up, you about to get it, or Moses coming down and saying, y'all done mess up. And it's interesting that he does a thing that's similar to what happens with the bitter waters when he has them drink the golden calf in water. Just like the bitter waters from Numbers chapter 5. Okay, so we look at, let's go back over here. Exodus, we're in 32, 27, 27. So we see over here, they call for, okay, let's just get this thing straight. Who's on the Most High side? Y'all stand over here on this side. We done with all of this. I don't know what y'all out here doing, even though Aaron is like the main one out there, right? Whoever with the Most High, y'all get on this side. Levi says we on the Most High side.
That's right.
Right? And then so we see over here, even real quick, it happens, right? Then Moses says over here 29. Do we read 29? Read 29.
Moses said, you are ordained of Yahweh today, since each one has been against his son and his brother, so as to bring upon you a blessing today.
Okay, something interesting happens over here with Levi. Right? Because we already at this point know who the high priest is going to be. It's going to be Aaron and his sons. That's the high priests. The high priests, right? And so over here now it's established that the sons, like all the sons of Levi, later they're gonna get a blessing that begins from this day when they said we gonna stand on the Most High side and be those ones that they got to do some serious things, right? Since each one of you has been against his son and his brother, right? They about to go out here. Whoever wasn't trying to stand up for righteousness was getting taken out over here, and it was by their own people, right? They was performing the judgment on these 3,000 men. Right. So later we see that they had a turnaround. And it's interesting because it wasn't like this was like a group of Israel that was like a little small group of Israel that was over worshiping the golden calf. They was in it.
They was in it to win it.
This was like a serious thing that happened over here. But they still had a choice and a decision to make to be able to turn from from wickedness towards righteousness, which is a interesting picture where we see where the Most High, he's a forgiving Elohim, right? Because Levi was right there. They was right there. Aaron made the thing. He made the thing, right? They was right there doing all of the things, but the opportunity was given to them. Choose right now what you gonna do, and then we'll move from there.
My thing is, like, it's just unfathomable that after seeing all that the Most High done did to bring them out of Egypt, fire, you know what I mean? The opening of the waters, all these different things. And then Moses is going to say, whose side you on? Yahweh, who did all this stuff, or the golden calf?
They quickly jumped on the
And they stayed on the calf side.
Oh, right.
He was gold.
Those ones, yeah.
What's wrong with them? Like, What did they think was going to be the next event that happened?
Yeah.
Like, did they think like, oh, well, yeah, we gonna be on this side, and y'all gonna be over there, and we gonna be over here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did they think was gonna happen?
They think, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the campaign. Do nothing for
Yeah,
you.
that's interesting. That's interesting. I wasn't thinking that you was even going in that direction. I thought you was going somewhere else. But that is, I mean, that's interesting. And so we could even just think back what the reasoning behind it. Oh, he
Mhm.
took too long.
Right.
It didn't have nothing to do with him taking that too long. It was already in your heart.
Yeah, something in their heart.
Because when he came back, it should have been like there shouldn't have been
Oh, he's
nobody.
back. Like, all right,
It should have been no
Right.
3,000.
we don't want that.
Yeah. Oh, he came back. All right, cool.
Right.
But you're right. What was they doing? What was the decision to make? Ain't no decision to make.
It's
But-
like the whole purpose of them being where they're at right now.
Yeah.
They were following Moses, who was following Yahweh's command.
Mhm.
You're in this place.
Yeah.
You're like totally, you don't got nothing. You don't got nothing, no hope, no nothing.
Yeah.
And you still want to say, oh, no, I ain't going on that side.
Right. Because that's what's in them people's hearts.
I'm about to say because they're stupid.
they,
That's the only way.
they
That's
stupid.
only.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, man, I can't disagree with you because I still see it today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Right.
still see the same kind of behavior today. Like, you would think, like, for instance, you have generations of poverty. You have generations of people going to prisons. You got grandfathers, fathers, and then sons in prison. Like, don't you see the examples happening? And don't you say, like, okay, like something ain't right. We're all going the wrong way.
Right.
Let me turn. But no,
Yeah.
they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about it, it's interesting because we see this kind of thing happen over and over again, which really just tells us that we need the Ruach HaKodesh in order to be able to make it.
Right.
The Most High helps us to see that He's right over and over again, because all we're gonna do is sit up here and do what's in our wicked hearts,
Right.
unless something happens something more magnificent and amazing than seeing the Most High come down on the top of the mountain with thunderings and lightnings.
Yeah.
So scary and frightening. Don't you ever let him speak to me again. You talk to him, Moses.
Yeah.
You talk to him, and then you tell me what he said. I don't want to experience this thing ever again. They
Hear
said.
that no more. Scary.
And you want to be on the opposite side.
And
from
not
that?
only that,
Yeah.
but not only that, that was after all of the 10 plagues happened.
Like they ain't got no fear at all.
That was after they literally seen all of these 10 things happen, ending off with the Most High coming through and killing the firstborn in Egypt. All of those things, flies and darkness and blood and frogs and all of the things. They saw all that.
All of that.
Saw the Most High.
I wonder if they had
And then
Wheaties
this.
back then. Wheaties, because they ate some Wheaties and thought they had breakfast champions that day. They go against all that.
It just don't make no sense.
But you know what? I look at it like this. Everything that was recorded in scripture regarding our ancestors' downfall was an example for us today of what we should not do. Yet still, that's what I'm saying. Yet still, according to Baruch 2, 33-35, we are stiff-necked. We don't listen. We don't have that understanding of going back to the beginning, back to the basics, back to the OT to see where they fumbled the ball.
Right.
That we should pick up and carry on.
Right.
Majority of us are doing it today, but it's so much more that's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the big thing is, the biggest thing of all of this is understanding that that's just what was going to happen because of the fact we needed for Yeshua to come. We needed for him to go back to the Father. And we needed for him to send back that Ruach HaKodesh so that we could have that spiritual transformation happen inside of us so that we could walk in obedience the whole time. So we're able to look over and see that we can't do this without you.
Right.
You even just taking us there ain't even good enough.
That is true.
I need you inside of me. I need you to change me. Right? I can't even just see you right over there and follow your pillar of cloud by day and your pillar of fire by night. I need to have that pillar of fire and cloud of smoke in my body.
Remember we was talking about earlier when we was on the wheel here?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that because we're talking
Yeah,
about that right over
That's
here, right?
We was talking about today.
Okay, so let's keep on going. Let's finish up this chapter here. Where do we stop at? Let's finish up this chapter here. Oh, 30. Oh, hold on, let me put it up here. Hold on. Just read down to the end of
And it came to be on the next day that Moshe said to the people, you have sinned a great sin, and now I'm going to Yahweh, if I might atone for your sin. And Moshe returned to Yahweh and said, oh, these people have sinned a great sin and have made themselves a mighty one of gold. And now, if you would forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out of your book, which you have written.
Right.
And Yahweh said to Moshe, whoever has sinned against me, I blot him out of my book. And now go, lead the people to the place of which I have spoken to see you. See, my messenger goes before you. And in the day of my visitation, I shall visit their sin upon them. And Yahweh plagued the people because they made a calf which Aaron made.
Okay, very, very good. Okay, so we look over here at this. This is very interesting. Again, we see where Moses, of course, is, pleading for the people, right? He pleads for the people again over here with the situation with, what they did. So much so where he says, 33, whoever has sinned, where he says in 32, if you won't forgive their sin, he said, blot me out of your book. Right? He's ready to stand in the gap for his people like that.
That's deep.
Where he's clearly innocent. He wasn't even there.
Yeah. That's deep.
Right? He wasn't even, he got zero blame in this. He wasn't there. Right? And he says, just blot me out. Let them go. Moses say, nah. The one who's sinned gonna be blotted out, period. Point blank.
And you know what? That's very deep. That because remember again when we was coming over, I was telling you about how I started seeing how deep Moshe was about being for the people. He was for the people so much he didn't even get the chance to see the promised land because of the people.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's how much but him and the Most High had so much of a relationship and dialogue. I was telling Maury Daniel today, I desire that same thing.
Yeah.
To be in a position like that,
Yeah. So when you look over here at this, it's very interesting and powerful when we look at this, what actually is going on. And so I got some things missing out of here. But when we think about, if we go back and think about what it is that this people has done over here, if we go back to I'm trying to see. if we go back and think about this, what they done, let's see where it's at the beginning of, it's at the beginning of this chapter here, where they did. So this people sat up here and they did a whole bunch of terrible things, because I just want us to think about the weight of the transgression that they did with this golden calf situation, right? And so let's see, people saw he was going long, arise and make. Okay, so we had the fact that, oh, wait a second. Does he talk about this in the next thing over here? 34. Okay, so the people, this is what the people done, right? They say, arise and make us a mighty one to go before us. Arise, make us mighty ones who go before us. They go on the way to the place where the Most High's taking them. Moses, I don't know. I'm not buying this here. Let me put the screen on so you can see my finger quotes. I'm not buying this anymore. This whole Moses been too gone long thing. Because when he came back, they should have been healed of that problem, right?
Yeah.
So
he went up here.
He went up numerous. He went up numerous times for 40 days at a time.
They should have been used to that,
right? It's so okay. Let's just go back. We had to put the finger quotes on that one. So we see that they're going to a place that the Most High is taking them. Moses take too long, and then they say, Moses taking too long. We need some mighty ones to go and take us there, to go before us. Moses taking too long.
I don't understand. What was they going to go?
Well, they was going to the land, though. They want
the other mighty ones to take them.
Yeah.
And they had to carry the mighty ones there.
They had to make them first and then carry them.
But they're taking them.
And so and so we see that there's something that it's like these. So and then not only that, so they worship the calf and they call the calf the Most High. So they worship the calf, they called the calf the Most High. They told, and so when you think about now, when the Most High, I'm good, thanks. The first thing that the Most High did when he came and talked to the people in the first place was he said who he was. He said who he was, and he said what he did. And then he said, don't worship nobody else or give nobody else this credit. Right? And so they basically did the opposite of the first three things that the Most High said to them to begin with. He said, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out from Egypt. They said, well, since Moses has been gone so long, this here thing that you can ready make for us is Yahweh, and we're gonna worship him, and then he gonna take us the rest of the way. So it's like they canceled out all of the things that they physically, literally heard the Most High say with his mouth with this here golden calf situation. And so we see the severity of it when we see what happens. The Most High allows for the judgment that Moses has to be done. You know, the wiping out of the people who just was being obstinate and staying on the other side. Them people get killed. Right? But there's more to come after that. And then he says this other thing in verse 30. 4 that we read, that he is going to send this messenger before you, which was something that they didn't never talk about before. Right? That wasn't part of the deal. An angel, right? The Most High was going to take them through. This messenger piece, this is judgment. You want to sit up here and deal with me like this and have this wickedness in my close proximity? I'm gonna sit up here and be with you and lead you through. Nah.
I gotta put a little distance between me and you.
It got to be a little something here. And then so it's interesting that we see again thinking about the severity of the offense, and also thinking about the weightiness of what the Most High has already done at this point. You're able to see why this was such a serious situation. You know, again, where the Most High, I bet he had some nice handwriting that he had on them tablets. I bet that stuff looked fancy. You know, look, the only reason why we have these beautiful artists in this world is that people are able to tap into that thing that was bestowed upon them from the Most High. We can sit out here and look at nature and see his handiwork, right? He's an artiste, right? How you say artist in French? You don't know. You didn't learn that yet. He is the supreme artist, right? So he sat up here and wrote this with his own finger. This is my work. I wrote it with my own finger. He was happy about it. And then they sat up here and just did all of this. He's upset. He's upset about this. People got things to pay as a result of this. So let's keep on going, because we want to keep on reading, because there's some pretty powerful things that's about to go down over here. So let's see here. Let's go over here to the next chapter. Just a continuation. And just start reading over there on verse 1.
And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Come, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought out of the land of Mitzrayim, to the land which I swore to Abraham and Yitzchak and to Jacob, saying, to your seed I give it. And I shall send my messenger before you, and I shall drive out the Canaanite and the Amorite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Jebusite and the Jebusite to the land flowing with milk and honey, where I do not go up in your midst, because you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way."
Oh, hold on. He said, for I do not go up in your midst. He ain't gonna. Y'all go. I'll send this messenger. I'm gonna get you there. Y'all go. I'm gonna get you there, but I'm not with y'all.
Yeah, because he was clearing the way all the way to this point. Now
he's still clearing the way, but he took 2 steps back.
Yeah.
He took 2 steps back. I ain't with y'all. Y'all stiff neck.
I wonder if this didn't happen.
He would took him through.
I know, but I'm saying, would he have stayed there?
They'd have did something.
Would he have been? I'm just saying, if they did. This is hypothetical. Was his plan to be in the center of Israel?
Yeah, that's the plan. That they already. It's funny because they already gave him the instructions for the thing. He's gonna sit on the mercy seat. That's where he's gonna be at. And so the plan is for him to go and literally take them through the thing. Until this is a serious offense right here. Yeah. This is like it was almost a deal breaker.
Spit in the face.
Spit in the face.
Yeah.
This is it right here. This is a pivotal event in the history of Israel, because the Most High was like, I got to make some distance between you and I.
I know he probably so hot, like, man, let me just move away, because if I stay, ain't gonna be no Israel.
This is it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Terrible thing. He said, I ain't going. I'm gonna just send my messenger. Let my messenger go. All right, keep on going.
It says, and when the people heard this evil, they mourned, and no one put on his ornament. And Yahweh said to Moshe, say to the children of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people. I should go up in your midst for one moment, and I shall consume you. And now take off your ornaments, and I shall know what to do to you. The children of Israel took off their ornaments at Mount Horeb.
Okay, so we see over here the people understand that this is some serious business over here. When they hear this 33 right here, they like, hold on, they said the people heard this evil word and they mourned, and they couldn't even dress up no more. They couldn't put their trinkets on no more after that. What's the point of us sitting up here looking right,
Looking fly.
and we like in this we in a way with the Most High? They mourned because they understand the weight of the situation that the people done messed up over here, right? Okay, keep on going.
Yeah, and Moshe took his tent and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the tent of appointment. And it came to be that everyone who sought Yahweh went out to the tent of appointment, which was outside the camp. They came to be, Moshe went out to the tent, and all the people rose, and each man stood at his tent door and watched Moshe until he entered the tent. And it came to be, when Moshe entered the tent, that the column of the cloud descended and stood at the door of the tent, and he stood with Moshe. And all the people saw the column of the cloud standing at the tent door, and all the people rose and bowed themselves, each one at the door of his tent. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and would return to the camp. But his servant Yehoshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent.
Okay, so when we look over here, again, we see this thing that kind of grows out of the people's state as a result of hearing that the Most High is not coming. They knew that Moses went and he spoke to the Most High, and then normally he would just go and speak to the Most High, and then they would just, if the people wanted to give their petitions to Moses, and they would do so, and then the ones that didn't, they just would do their own thing. But at this time, everybody didn't do nothing until Moses went and talked to the Most High and came back. They was at this place where they just wanted to just know what was going to happen next. They was worried about Moses going. It didn't matter if they had something to petition unto the Most High or not. They was attentive to what Moses was doing in his tent of meeting, and then they would all be at their tents
Stressed out.
stressing, right? Because of this thing that they have done. Okay, keep on going. We get into the good part.
They probably couldn't even sleep.
I know, not knowing what was next.
Yeah.
I mean, can you just imagine that? Like you just got finished, y'all just did all this foolishness. It's almost like you done got caught red-handed. Like it's what Moses was gone, Most High was over there on the mountain. We did all of this stuff. I guess feeling like we was gonna be able to get away with it.
No, they got the spirit of wickedness. That's wicked. They got a spirit of wickedness.
They obviously did have a spirit of wickedness, although I'm just saying, but they got caught in the midst of it. And so the ones who they was out there doing all this mess with just got killed right next to them. Everybody there had somebody that was probably close to them, just got killed right next to them. Out of that 3,000 people, like they homeboy. I don't know why I'm talking like that. They homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Right next to them, killed.
That's what I'm saying. Man.
And so it just was like a thing. Like they couldn't even go back to like normal life. Like, I know Moses about to go up here. What's gonna happen? We'll wait till he come back, and then at least we'll know we're good. Like when he come back, like everybody was like worried about like that time while he was up in the tent and come back. Right, this was like that's what it said right there. That's what it just had said right there.
They acted.
I'm saying,
their
but
life is on the line. They're in fear.
well, we could say, let's keep on going because there's something that we could say that kind of goes along with what you said. So let's see.
People was actors.
Go ahead on verse number 12.
And Moshe says to Yahweh, see, you are saying to me, bring up this people, but you have not made known to me whom you are, whom would send with me, whom you would send with me. Though you have said, I know you by name, and you all have also found favor in my eyes. And now, please, if I have found favor in your eyes, please show me your way and let me know you, so that I find favor in your eyes, and consider that this nation is your people. And he said, my presence does go, and I shall give you rest. And he said to him, if your presence is not going, do not lead us up from here. For how then shall it be that I have found favor in your eyes, I and your people, except you go with us? Then we shall be distinguished, I and your people, from all the people who are upon the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh said to Moshe, even this word you have spoken, I shall do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I know you by name.
Hold on, stop right there. Before we go into that, I want to go back because we didn't mention we didn't mention from 32. We didn't mention from 32 in the last verse, 35. This right here. So he killed 3,000, right? But there was in addition, there was this plague that also happened through the thing. And right, so it's almost as if it was kind of like a cleansing to a degree of the people. And so because he already at this point he already did the 3,000 was already dead, and then now he's saying the people who sin is their name's not going to be in the book. And so when we see this plague that happens, is something that is in addition to what had already been done at that point. And so I'm saying that to a degree, overall we're looking at the people, and there's, it's clear that that the people was wicked from their actions. But at least for now, they're in a kind of this repentive state where there is some genuine sorrow for the things that they've done, and they're kind of just in silence, just kind of waiting to know what's getting ready to happen over here. And so where do we stop off at here?
I wanted to say something about 16. So this is a very interesting verse, because this is totally against the word that is being preached on street corners today.
Oh man, ain't it? Tell me, come
about how I've literally watched them say, "We're better than you," because we're the chosen people. But this verse right here lets you know that what makes us different from the people of the earth is that He is with us. It has nothing to do with us. It has absolutely nothing to do with us. What distinguishes us from all the people on the earth is if He's going with us. That's it. It has nothing to do with us. But there's such a pride in our people that we're somebody. We're and it's just mind blowing. That's what it is. That's what makes it.
What's intriguing to me is Moshe himself, because throughout the whole Bible, he's about the only one that had the actual power to convince y'all to change his mind on a few occasions. But he wanted to send the Ruach. In other words, he's like, "No, I'd rather you do it, because the Ruach ain't gonna forgive us like you could." He gonna, what I'm saying? But he did it. But what's so amazing is what y'all said to Moshe about favoring you, because I even know you by name. That's like if your daughter, you tell her you're gonna have a son. Well, I'll use me because my family's dysfunctional. I tell my daughter, you're gonna have a son, his name gonna be such and such. He is gonna be the one that's gonna bring our dysfunctional family back together. And then he grow old and get old, and he coming to me asking me to do things, but block me out, granddad. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Well, come with us then. I'm like, yeah, I know you by name. I knew you before you even came here. So it's like the rapport, and like I said, the dialogue and the relationship that Moshe had, man. It's powerful. It's just powerful.
Yeah, and we see that we can see that even in these in these verses over here. But to what you were saying about the people and the pride, that sneaks in, it's really just a result of the dysfunction and the judgment that come upon the people. The people is our people are in such a state and have been in such a state for so long. When you get that little bit of inkling of something, when it's not kind of received like it's supposed to be received, it's easy for you to go from from 0 to 100 like that so easily. And where it's like, yeah, you're right, I am something. I'm something. Like, y'all want to ever and tell me that I'm nothing my whole life. Really, I am something.
Right.
It turns into a thing when it's not taken correctly. And that's what happens. But I'm just saying it's kind of a natural thing. If I ain't got nothing, look at from a physical standpoint, like sports players.
Right.
The amount of sports players that go from being broke to being multimillionaires to broke again.
Oh yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You used to not having nothing, and then so once you get a little something, you don't know what to do with it.
Right.
It's the exact same thing. And so we're talking about a spiritual thing, but it's the same exact thing.
The fool and his money soon part.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Yes, they do. Okay, so let's keep on going because we want to get through this because we want to talk about this some more. Verse 18.
Then he said, "Please show me your esteem." And he said, "I shall cause all my goodness to pass before you, and I shall proclaim the name of Yahweh before you, and I shall favor him whom I favor, and I shall have compassion on whom I have compassion." But he said, "You are unable to see my face, for no man does see me and live." And Yahweh said, "See, there is a place with me. There is a place with me, and you shall stand on the rock. And it shall be, while my esteem passes by, that I shall put in the cleft of the rock, put you in the cleft of the rock, and cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I shall take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen."
Okay, very good. So we see Moses again. He's doing all this. He's pleading for the people. They got through the plague. They got through the issues. But now they have this additional issue, which is the Most High said he ain't going through. He ain't taking the people to the land. He's sending a messenger, which now the Moses is like, we can't. I don't want to go if you not going. Like now this turns into the thing that he's pleading for. He's pleading for the presence of the Most High to literally dwell amongst the people. And again, if we think about this in terms of not only the fact that Moses is pleading for the people, but what he's pleading for the presence to dwell in amongst the people. That's the last thing Yeshua talked to his disciples about before he went and died. His presence coming and dwelling with the people. The last message that Yeshua had for his disciples is that, yes, I'm going away, but you are going to be able to experience the presence of the Most High dwelling in you and resting in you and staying in you. The way that the disciples that he left, the only consolation that they was able to even have was to know that the presence of the Most High was going to come and dwell with them. And so it's kind of like it parallels the thing that we see over here with Moses. Moses is like, the only way that we're able to move forward is if you are able to come and dwell with us. It can't be an angel. It got to be you. It can't be a messenger. It got to be you. And so as he's here speaking with them, he says to Moses, Moses says to the Most High, "Show me your glory. Show me your glory." And we talked about kavod many times over here. The actual presence of the Most High. Kavod being that glorious, weighty light. Right? His actual presence. It's not just regular light, because regular light isn't heavy. It don't weigh anything. Yeah. It don't have any mass. That's scientifical. But this word kavod means heaviness. but it also means light. So I'm saying it's not regular light. It's not like light from a light bulb or from the sun, right? It's weighty light. It's the presence of the Most High. Moses say, "Come on, let me just see it. Let me just know, because how you treating me right now, it don't seem like I'm in your favor right now. So to prove to me that you are, let me see your presence. Let me see your unadulterated esteem. Show me that." Most I say, no, that's an impossibility. If I was to do that, you would be dead. No man is able to see me and live. No man could see my face and live. You can't see my whole situation like that. You're just this lowly person, human. The Most High is infinite light, but not just regular light. It's the spiritual light that's heavy, right? And so light and dark can't be in the same, they can't occupy the same space. Light overtakes darkness. If there's a little bit of darkness in Moses, he's dead. All right. That's why there got to be a separation between righteousness and unrighteousness, between holiness and unholiness. The two things can't be they can't occupy the same space. So he's looking at this wicked people like, hold up, I got to move back, because even how the tabernacle's even set up, it's set up for that holy, most holy place. That don't touch the people. It's a huge perimeter. The people can't even cross because of the Most High giving us that picture of his holiness and his set apartness. But we see over here where Moses is like, come on, just that's how I could know. Most High like, you my guy.
Slow your roll a little bit.
You my guy, but you can't see my unadulterated. My unadulterated, that's going to wipe you out. No, you are unable to see my face. He said, no man does see me and live. But then, so he says over here, these interesting things over here. There's this place. There is a place that's with me. You shall stand on the rock. It shall be while my glory passes by that I shall put you in the cleft of this rock and cover you with my hand while I pass by. So the glory, he's going to have the glory come by. He can't look at the glory. He can't even face the glory. And he got to be covered up while he's not facing it. Right? It's that serious. And then then I'll take my hand away, and then you could see the aftershock of the residue that I left as a result of me passing by.
Yeah, I think too, like, just, as you read this, always rethink stuff, makes you, and you slow down like this, and you be like, well, maybe the Most High didn't want nobody to see his face because that person know what he looked like now. So now you can make a graven image of that and be like, this is the Most High. This is what I seen. I'm just giving an angle. It ain't got to be, but it's just I'm just thinking like how, like the reason why he wouldn't want to be actually seen. You know, I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was gonna. What's sticking out to me is rock.
Yeah.
right? He's standing on the rock.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting in the cleft of the rock.
Yeah.
and
What you
then
talking
he
about?
Gets,
You talking about something? Go
Then
ahead, say
he-
it.
then he
Say
messes
that.
up when he strikes the rock twice.
Oh, see again,
Well, he
you
was
be
already
going
told
places
him.
where I don't even think
Yeah.
you gonna go.
He only told him to talk to him.
Right.
He hit the what I say? Pow, pow.
Yeah, it's just this, you know, we know that rock, you know, falling on the rock or the rock falling on you. You know what I mean? So there's just a
Yeah.
lot. There's a lot to this that
Yeah.
is interesting.
Yeah. So when we look over here, right? We look at this thing, this idea of him being on this rock. I always think it's interesting. This part here, there's this place with me. There's this place that's with
That's what
me.
I'm saying. Like,
What in the world is he talking about? What do you mean, like up in the heavenlies?
this rock is
Like on top of the mountain, like where he's at? I'm saying, like, is this some kind of supernatural rock that's able to withstand the supreme holiness of the Most High? Because remember now, if we go back, everything is judged as a result of sin, right? Hasatan, the serpent Nakash got judged, the woman got judged, the man got judged. The Most High said the curse is the ground.
That's why we
He
have
said-
farmers today.
He said, cursed is the ground.
Yeah.
The Most High said. Now it's gonna be thorns and thistles that you guys sit up here and work through. When we think about the fact of cursed is the ground, that's the whole earth is ground. Romans, I think it's in Romans to talk about the let me turn to it so I don't misquote it. I think it's yeah. Let me pull this up real quick. Romans. Eight. Let's see. Start reading at 19.
For the intense longing of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of Elohim. For the creation was subjected to futility, not from choice, but because of him who subjected it in anticipation, that the creation itself also shall be delivered from the bondage to corruption into the esteemed freedom of the children of Elohim. For we know that all the creation grows together and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now.
Okay, so I'm saying that when we think about the fact that there's a problem, the problem is not just with man, it's with all creation. The whole creation is waiting for that final redemption to be made manifest. And so I'm saying that just to say, what are you talking about? What's this rock he talking about that he gonna be safe in? That's by him.
You know that.
If you look over here, it's interesting. I think it's I want to say I got it out of my Chumash that got the that has the commentary from Rambam, Maimonides. But they talk about the Aramaic translation of this verse that says to cover you with my hand while I pass by. They say that the Aramaic translation of that is that I will protect with my word. Right? Because and they like that translation because the from the Jewish standpoint, where the Most High, they don't want the Most High to have these personifications, right? When you make a personification of the in the non-corporal Most High, he don't have hands and feet and arms. But I can understand.
No, he wrote with his finger.
Though he wrote with his finger.
Yeah,
Right?
you know, he wrote with
So
his finger,
so they like to kind of look at these things in other ways. But I'm saying in this time when they do it now, when they talk about the idea of protecting with my word being a better translation than protecting with my hand, if we look and see what actually happens in the next chapter, which is over here in 33, is what the Most High is going to do, and then 34 is what he does, where it seems as if he literally does protect with his word. Us thinking about this the way we think about it, in terms of looking at this and seeing Yeshua in the scriptures, when we think about who Yeshua is, Yeshua allows us to be able to be in the vicinity of the Most High. It's because of Yeshua that we're able to not be dead because of the holiness of who he is and the unholiness, the unworthiness that lies within us. And so the thing that's being described over here is a thing that we are able to look at and see and understand that that's what Yeshua does for us. He allows for the Most High to be in close proximity with us. We know that he was there, but it don't kill us. He's the buffer, right? He's the go-between. He's the rock that covers us, right? He's that place that's by me that I'm able to get up inside of and be covered up by. And then if we even think about it again by this Aramaic rendering of this verse over here, the word that protects us. Let's just read the first 8 verses of the next one just so we can add that to the mix.
And is Yeshua also his right hand?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely is. He's the arm, he's the hand, he's the muscle that talks about in Isaiah chapter 52, where he makes his arm bare, where he pulls the muscle out for the enemies to see, about to get struck by this hand that's attached to this arm. Okay, go ahead and read down through verse 8.
We said to Moshe, cut 2 tablets of stone like the first one, and I shall write on these tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke.
But he reminded him too, which you broke. Yeah, I didn't break them, you broke them.
And be ready in the morning, and you shall come up in the morning to Mount Sinai and present yourself to me there on the top of the mountain, and let no man come up with you, and let no man be seen on the mountain, and let not even the flock of the herd feed in front of the mountain. And we cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and Moshe rose early in the morning and went up Mount Sinai, and Yahweh commanded him, and he took 2 tablets of stone in his hand. And Yahweh came down in the cloud and stood with him there. He proclaimed the name Yahweh. And Yahweh passed before him and proclaimed Yahweh, Yahweh, and El, compassionate and showing favor, patient, and great and loving commitment and truth, watching over loving commitment for thousands, forgiving crookedness and transgression and sin, and by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children of the children's children, to the third and fourth generation. And Moshe hurled and bowed himself toward the earth and did obeisance.
Okay, so again, when we look at verses 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, and 7, that's 33, 22, and 23. He told Moses what to do. Go over there and stand over there. I'm not going to show you my face. This is how I'm going to show you. Get in the cleft of the rock, and then I'll pass by you. And then you can see after I done already passed by. When we get over to the next chapter, this is him coming down, and this is what happens. So he said, look, he came down and stood with him there.
Ooh.
Yahweh came down, it said, and stood with him there. And then he proclaimed the name of Yahweh and passed by, and Yahweh, so he was standing by him. But if we remember, he had to be in the cleft of the rock getting protected while the presence was going by. So he's standing by him and he's passing by him at the same time. And as he's standing by him, he's proclaiming the name of Yahweh. And then he's passing by before him,
Who's
proclaiming.
the name?
Who's proclaiming?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. You tell me who's proclaiming. Moses ain't talking over here.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, and Yahweh came down in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name.
And he passed by before him and proclaimed. But I'm saying we got to put this with the chapter before.
Yes.
He's by the rock,
Right. Yeah.
turned around
Right.
with the hand covering him.
Right.
Like going like this.
And then while that's happening, the presence is moving past.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we see it played out, we got to think about chapter 34 based on what he said was going to happen in 33.
Yeah. Came down the clouds.
So he came down and stood with him there and proclaimed the name. But again, thinking about this Aramaic thought of it in terms of this idea of being protected by the word.
Right.
And then what happens? Only thing that we see is it says Yahweh passed by him and proclaimed. So you got the Most High standing there, Yahweh standing there, and you got the Most High passing by, proclaiming all of this. Yahweh, Yahweh, El, compassionate, showing favor,
Yeah.
patient, great, loving, kind, and truth. Right? As it's going by.
Like he's telling him that.
His character.
This is who I am. Hold on. Look. Hide your face. Hold on. Like you get that. And I'm such. That's like a Hispanic saying their whole name. I am the rest. Whatever. You know, they walking past him. You know?
Yeah, but I'm saying that we got two things happen simultaneously over here, though.
Yeah, two things. That is true.
Right?
That is true.
He got to be protected and covered
Right.
while the presence is going by. But the way that it's described, the only thing that's going by is these words, this character of the Most High. That the unadulteratedness of these words is too much for Moses got to be shielded from it. I'm saying when we look at this over here is Yeshua is a perfect example of Yeshua and what he is and what he does for us in terms of showing us the character of the Most High in this earth. And as he's doing it, he's protecting us from what we deserve from the Most High. Our imperfectness is buffered by, he's the buffer of our imperfectness, because he's supposed to come past and say all of these characteristics of the Most High, and it's just too much, and you're not able to stand in the presence of the Most High, right?
Yeah.
But Yeshua is the only one that is able to make that possible for us. And so I'm saying, when we look at this, we see kind of this picture of this thing happening, of the Most High not only standing by, but passing by at the same time. And as he's passing by, the thing that that is covering him, he's being covered with these words, with this proclamation of the Most High, which, Yeshua is the word of Yahweh.
Yeah.
And so when we look at this whole thing over here and we see this kind of great transgression that was done by the people, the punishment was also great, but kind of the reconciliation was great as well, because we see this kind of a thing where the Most High makes his presence known to Moses in a way that pictures for us a picture of his the everlasting way that he's going to make for us in the future.
Right.
And again, Yeshua tells us to look at these things this way. When he talks to people like Nicodemus, when he talks to these different Pharisees, he marvels at the fact that they are able to look at the Torah and don't know who he is. Right?
Yeah.
He expects for us, looking at the Torah from a spiritual perspective, he expects for us to know where he's at over there. One of the things that he did when he came back, before he sent the Spirit, when he came back and visited his disciples, was to go through and show them all the places where he was at. And so, this for me has always been one of those places where I look and see, and like, this to me is like, there's some things going on over here. Right? And again, after he redoes his masterpiece, which was this magnificent thing the first time, right? And so he does this thing again, and then tops it off with this this manifestation that he has with Moses on this mountain. And so, saying all that, when we look at this this chapter again, and thinking about Yeshua and who he is and what he represents for us, it helps us to see, all of this really helps us to see, we could know what it is that the scriptures say. They knew. You know, we can have some type of spiritual awakening. They had the most spiritual awakening anybody could ever have in life. They they had a spiritual awakening that was physical and spiritual at the same time, simultaneously. They seen the Most High, and by very virtue of him being the Most High, it's a spiritual situation. And yet, and still, the people still was unable to do the things that was necessary for him to do. But we know that the Most High has made a way for us through his son Yeshua to cause us to be able to not have to just have information, not just to have some moment of spiritual clarity, but he allows for us to actually be infused with the spirit of the Most High and transformed and changed on the inside, causing us to be able to do the things that he would have for us to do. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to look and see where you're able to see kind of you know, him hinting at his plan before the thing comes about, right? Before the people even get into the land, before, at this point, it's before they even the worship system's not even set up yet. They just got the instructions for it. Right. And so at this point in the game, we already see a picture of what's going to come in the distant future at that point. But it just helps us to see that the Most High always is making a way for his people, knowing that, you know, we could never have done it this way.
Right.
It could never have been just all dependent on us and our own strength, power, and ability. We never would have been able to make it. And this, and we have an example of the fact that, you know, we wasn't able to with you know, the people. But now, because of the fact that we have Yeshua, that he came down and made it possible for us to receive that Ruach HaKodesh, we're able to stand in the presence of the Most High, and we're able to be in right standing with the Most High.
And I would like to add that when I think about that, you know, Moshe was like a savior type for Israel. Just think, though he had sinned, he was willing to give up his own life, but you know, it couldn't happen because he was already tarnished with sin. But the thing is, the scripture tells us we didn't find Yah. We didn't choose him. He chose us, right? So I sit back and I ask a lot of people, how did the Most High get your attention? How did he choose you? If you think about it, how did Moshe meet him? Remember, he was wandering out trying to find that sheep, and he found the sheep on her hip. And as he was leaving, he looked at his bush and what the heck is this bush on fire for? But it's not perishing. Next thing you know, he hear his name. Moshe, Moshe. That's how he met him. You feel me? And from there, it was the rap. They developed a relationship so strong that he was able to say the things he said to him, you know, where no other man besides Abraham probably couldn't. You know, but I think about that. You know, the Most High chooses us. We don't choose him. He chooses us.
Yeah, Yeshua talks about the fact that, you know, we come because of the fact that we've been drawn first. And so it's important for us to take advantage to take advantage of the fact that the Most High has called us, who has given us, put it in our hearts to want to seek after Him and to do it, wholeheartedly. Even we look at Moses, the person who there wasn't nobody that ever walked the earth that had the experiences that he had. And even when we look at him, we see that there's processes that he even goes through, right? And but as well as the processes that we see him go through, we see that also he's held to a higher standard because of the closeness that he has. And the same thing is true for those who want to say that they even have a relationship with the Most High. He's going to put you through the fire, but he also is going to hold you to a higher standard than somebody who don't know anything. And so you can't afford to turn around. You can't afford to drop the ball, right? He throwing you the pass, you can't afford to drop it, right? You can't fumble, right? Because he's giving you all the tools to be able to hold on. If you let go, it's because of the fact that you let go, because he strengthened you to the point where your grip is tight. Right? If you let go, it's because you want to let go. Because he made it possible for you to be to battle the storm. Right? And so, we just have to kind of remember these things, and that, if we look at Moses, which we often do look at Moses, he just had a few kind of slip ups. If you look at Israel as a whole, think about Israel as a whole and all the things that Israel has done. And then look at Moses and all the things that he has done. Right? His list is way shorter. But he was that much closer to the Most High. And so that's the difference. It's where he was at a place where he had to walk around covered up because he was so shiny because of his proximity to the Most High. He was that close to the Most High that the Most High's presence was shining off of him.
Every time I read that, I see Charlton Heston coming off the mountain with a handful of gray hair.
Yeah, they have him come down with like gray hair and but he literally was shining like.
Yes.
And so all that is just about that proximity that he had, but more so the standard that was set because of the closeness that he had with the Father. And again, the same thing is true for you and I, right? This is not a game that we out here playing, right? We have to take this thing seriously, and when we make certain proclamations out of our mouth, the Most High, he agrees with you when you say what you say. Right? He agrees with you when you say what you say, so you better have meant what you said, right? Because these couple chapters is a perfect example. You got to pay for your actions, right? Israel paid heavily over here, but because of the fact that they had a mediator like Moses there at that time, he was able for Israel as a whole to be kind of a redeemer for the people. Okay. Do I have any last thoughts? Okay, so that being said, for now we will say Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And we will
came to visit today.
yeah. Everybody who's checking out the channel, make sure that you like and subscribe and share the videos. And y'all willing, we will be back on next week with some more. Okay. All right.
Shalom,
Shabbat shalom.
everybody. Have to take us out.